It seems a new age is dawning upon the Legend of Zelda franchise, with this announcement of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity coming out of nowhere. It changes the entire scope of what it means for Breath of the Wild to be a part of the Legend of Zelda series. Before, it was its own independent thing, but then we got word there was going to be a sequel, and there hadn't been anything like that for Zelda since Majora's Mask from Ocarina of Time. And now, it's, at least as far to my knowledge, the first Zelda game to get a dedicated prequel that is advertised as such. So we'll get to see what happened back when Link originally failed to save the Kingdom of Hyrule, and we'll get to play through that experience. This game is such a surprise, but a very welcome one. I was not expecting to hear anything from Zelda for the rest of this year, to be honest. But here we are. Breath of the Wild is getting a prequel, and it's the Hyrule Warriors game. The one that came out before, in 2014, I remember playing that, and it was one of the first Zelda games I had played. Obviously didn't play like a Zelda game, but that's kind of the reason why I picked it up, because even though I really wanted to like traditional Zelda, I just never seemed to be able to click with it. I'm not really sure how to describe it. I played Ocarina of Time, and I played some of Twilight Princess, and it just never came together for me. But Hyrule Warriors, being the hack and slash sort of game it was, I got down with a lot easily. And I remember having a lot of fun with that game, which surprised me, because I'm not usually a fan of the games where you just swing your weapon at enemies that can't really put up a good fight and they all get decimated and rinse repeat, you do the same thing over and over again. Hyrule Warriors did it in... I don't know if it was just the way it presented itself or the locations you went to, but I enjoyed that game. And the character variety was amazing. The fact that not only did you have different characters with their own weapons, but they may have had different weapons that changed their movesets on top of that. Fantastic. Absolutely loved that. It was a great game. The music, really nice. It had a good budget with the cutscenes. That was nice too. They got to tell their own story, and I could tell they definitely had fun with that. But now we're getting another game. It's sort of a sequel in terms of mechanics, but a prequel to Breath of the Wild. And they're working directly with the team from what we were told, and it shows. This game seems like it's been given the proper respect that something tied to Breath of the Wild deserves. The cutscenes look just like it. I'm sure it's written just like Breath of the Wild. They said that they've worked closely together, and I just can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait to play it. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic game. But I was saying, a new age of Zelda. Obviously, Breath of the Wild is a part of the Zelda franchise, but it just seems like it's becoming something more than that now. You had the lone game, and it was fresh, it was daring, it just destroyed any preconceptions of what a Zelda game has to be like, which I believe was the point, and they definitely succeeded. Gliding, climbing, the environment was so dynamic and responsive to what the player chose to do, and it rewarded creative thinking and just out-of-the-box scenarios. You could set fire to a field to create updrafts of wind to fly up, you could freeze something, hit it a bunch, unfreeze it, and it would keep the velocity you empowered. I could go on, but it succeeded in bringing so many new players in, and it was the second Zelda game I ever finished. The first one being Hyrule Warriors, which you may or may not count as a Zelda game. The point is, Breath of the Wild, I got to the end of it, thoroughly enjoyed that game, and I'm so glad it's getting a sequel. But the world it presented as well was so rich with personality and lore and mystery. So the fact that we're going to be able to experience it, obviously those things will still be there, but perhaps shine a bit of light on some of the mysteries will be really intriguing. The sequel as well, that obviously isn't out yet, we don't know what's going to happen, but the fact that the story's being continued just signs off that the development team really have faith in this particular version of the Zelda world, that they decided to give it a follow-up. Even Majora's Mask, whilst yes it was a follow-up, it sort of still stuck to its own thing anyway, whereas the Breath of the Wild sequel seems to actually directly be a sequel. So now that we've got the sequel and the prequel, the story just seems to be such an important factor for the Breath of the Wild. I sort of want to call it its own branch of the Zelda franchise now, because it's got 3 games under its name, 2 of which at the very least play differently to one another. It's just so unexpected that this happened. The music is probably going to be fantastic. The same teams are working on it, so that should be a good sign. This is going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great. I'm not even a massive Zelda fan. Other games, you know, they come out and they're like, okay, that's cool. I didn't play the Link's Awakening remaster or the Twilight Princess remaster, but if it's Breath of the Wild related, I am definitely interested. And the game releases this November as well. Just wow. It wasn't even leaked before, well, I didn't think it was leaked. Point is, it comes out this November, which is relatively soon, and they talked about how it should hold us over until there's more to talk about from Breath of the Wild sequel. So maybe midway through next year we'll get an update on that as well. So it's just looking good for the Zelda universe. I'm going to be really intrigued how some of the characters play, specifically Zelda. So she doesn't have magic, but she does have the Sheikah Slate technology. So the moveset's probably going to be really incredible to watch, but then again you could say that for all of their movesets. If it's anything like the first game, which I'm hoping is a bit more expansive, because whilst I did enjoy the first game, it still gets repetitive, so I hope it's a little bit more expansive. But yeah, it just looks like it's going to be absolutely amazing. Zelda is in such a new place right now. They're taking all sorts of new risks everywhere, it seems, and so many people probably are going to get into Zelda through this game after hearing about how good Breath of the Wild was, and they can go back to play the first game, and then maybe the second game will be out by the time they're done. With the existence of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, we have a trilogy in the Zelda franchise, which, as far as I'm aware, is a first for the series, and to top it off, is going to have a connected storyline throughout all 3 games of the trilogy. Personally, I find games just get so much better when you have a connected storyline tying them all together as a continuity. I feel like it makes the world and characters deeper because you care more about what happens to them, and even if these are new places because you've gone forward or back in time, because they're all anchored together by that same continuity, you may care or you may perceive them in ways that you just wouldn't if it was a single thing on its own. So the fact that Zelda's going to get this, and this game is a part of it, and they seem to just be building up Breath of the Wild, such a treat. You know, I wouldn't be surprised, or I wouldn't complain if we found out there was going to be maybe a cartoon or a show or something based off the world of Breath of the Wild. I think that could do remarkably well if they ever went for that. I would be, yeah, this is just making the story even better, and I can't wait to see it. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about this game. I'm just so surprised it's happened, so excited, can't wait. What a surprise. Yeah, that's all I have to say. But I would be interested to know how some of you, if you are into Zelda, how you did get into Zelda, because I'm pretty sure someone like me is not typical. My first one being Hyrule Warriors, and then my second one Breath of the Wild. But maybe I'm wrong, maybe so many people joined just on Breath of the Wild. I'll be interested to know. But anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you around.